Then the second level of karma yoga in the Bhagavad Gita means selfless action. Selfless action. Learning how to act without creating karmic consequences of action. See, and then the Bhagavad Gita is actually a very esoteric text. You know, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita it says so. It says, you know, the whole text here has been guhya, shh, big secret. See, especially when it comes to bhakti yoga, when it comes to like devotion to enlightened beings, it's like shh, don't tell. See? Why? Because people are idiots. Most people are not ready, and they would just diss it. You know, they hear that stuff and they just like, oh, what a bunch of garbage that is. And Mr. Karma would be present for that event too. See, and that could retard somebody for many, many lifetimes from ever hearing anything like the Bhagavad Gita again. Think that's possible? You think it's possible to live a whole life, at least one lifetime, without ever hearing anything like love your neighbor as yourself? See, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. You think it's possible to live a whole lifetime as a human being on this planet without ever hearing anything like that? Of course. See, of course it is. Of course it is. You live in like a war-strewn, war-torn, you know, kind of situation. Anarchy is reigning and stuff like that. You don't hear stuff like that anymore. You just hear like, watch out for your own ass and try and, you know, kill as many people as possible before they kill you. So that becomes your dharma. See, that's the only dharma you ever hear. So, you know, that's the kind of like, you know, people who hear this kind of thing and then diss it or don't act on it too, I think, is a form of dissing it. They just like come to these classes and they go, oh, that's kind of interesting. Or, no, you know, he told a funny joke one time. And then it was like, that's all. And then like, you know, next week is like, well, what's next on the infotainment, you know, channels of my life? And, you know, you just hear it and goes in, out, one ear, out the other. That's another form of dissing it in a way. You hear it, you better do something about it. See, you are fortunate enough to create the karma to hear it. So now it's up to you. See, what are you going to do with it? Is it just going to be like, you know, another piece of information? See, you know, we're just inundated with information nowadays, right? Just inundated. All kinds of information coming at us from all kinds of ways. And we tend to be, what do you call it, non-discriminating about the information. It's just more information. It's like a toothpaste commercial. Or it's like a movie, or it's like this, or it's like, you know, it's like the CNN. It's all just information. And we regard it kind of like all equally, which is a big mistake. All information is not equal. There's information that is ridiculous, you know, like everything on TV, you can pretty much ignore, okay? There's, how many shows are on there on TV? Three shows now on TV. Stupid, all the sitcoms are stupid. Awful, there's awful shit, you know. We got all these channels, but there's only 3 shows. There's stupid, there's awful, you know, which is like all these, what do you call this? Drama shows, police shows, this and that shows. And as well as the CNN show. The suffering around the world show, you know. And then the third show is boring. It's just boring. It's like, you know, when it's not stupid and it's not awful, it's just boring. So all of that information is just coming at us all the time, and we treat it probably like we should, which is like, you know, we just space out, you know, and we don't really think about it. We don't, you know, you can't remember 2 days later what shows you watched. And then we get habituated to that. We get habituated to treating information that way. And then you come to a class like this and you hear like, you know, something like, you know, you should be kind to other people and you shouldn't kill and you shouldn't steal and stuff like that. And you go, oh, well, you know, it's just like another show. And so don't do that. You hear this kind of, you're lucky enough to hear this kind of stuff. Now it's up to you to start like, you know, putting it into practice. So you don't suffer, you see. That's the whole point. It's for you. It's live a happier life. See, nobody's going to hurt as a result of you ignoring this, but you. See, nobody's going to like suffer except for you by not putting this into play. So the second level of karma yoga, is selfless action. Means learning how to act in the world without creating repercussions of actions. And that is esoteric knowledge. That is mystery. That's guhya. That is a form of guhya. That's a form of mystery. What do you mean? And we've had lots of verses like this. We'll look at some more tonight, where Krishna says, you can act without acting. You can act without acting. You can be an actor without having action happen to you. So what does that mean? It means you can and must act in the world. You must navigate through samsara. You must navigate through the muck. But there's a way to do it without getting stained. There's a way to do it without getting stained. And primarily it is karma yoga means selflessly act in all kinds of ways. Selflessly, first of all, by acting compassionately and altruistically. You're not acting for yourself. You're acting for others. That's the first level of selflessness. What we call compassion in Buddhism, karuna. Compassion. Of acting. Why are you living? See, what's the point of your life? The point of your life should be service to others. See, that's the point of your life. That's what you were put here to do. And so, this is just a kind of a version of that, of learning to live selflessly. And that way, your actions will not have the kind of repercussions that you don't want them to have for yourself. You will live a happier life, first and foremost. Happier life. It is the secret of all happiness, is learning to live selflessly. Learning to live for somebody else, in the service of someone else. And that's the first level of selfless action. And that's one way to think about why you could act without sustaining the consequences of action. Is because you're not doing it for you. You're not doing it for you. You've taken the self-interest out of it. And that's the primary problem with karma, you see. The snare of karma comes from the self-interest. The snare, the rebound of the karma comes from you thinking, I'm going to do something vis-a-vis another for a purpose, for a reason, for some self-interested reason. So if you take the self-interest out of karma, it ceases to be the thing anymore. It ceases to be the same kind of thing anymore. And we had a very interesting verse in the last class about this. What if you managed to get so selfless that you regarded yourself as everyone? See, what if you managed to stretch out your sense of selfhood to such an extent that it encompassed all beings? Who would you be acting for, against, with? See, the whole system would break down. It would be like collapsing on itself. The whole karmic system would collapse in on itself because there would be no subject-object distinction. There would not be you, me, versus you. I will act versus you. See, we'll all be the same. In your mind, you would identify with all beings and the karmic thing would have to collapse. It's very interesting to think about that. So that's selfless action. That's one dimension of selfless action. Action done without attention to fruits. Krishna goes on and on about that. Without attention to fruits means I'm doing it because it's here to do. It's for me to do. I'm not interested in its outcome. I'm not interested in what I can get from this action. So that's selfless action from another point of view. Disinterested action. Disinterested does not mean that you don't care. Oh, I don't care what I do. It doesn't matter what I do. I don't care about other people and the ramifications of my action. It doesn't mean that. It just means disinterested in what I can get out of it. Selfless. See, disinterested.